Hey everybody, it's the Critter Dude and welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. And in today's video, I will be setting up a 10-gallon reptile tank. But the first thing I want to say is that this tank will not be a permanent setup for any animal. And this setup will only be for a baby animal, just to grow it up just a little bit, and then it will be transitioned to a bigger setup. But this is a good size to start some reptiles in. Also, this tank will not have an animal in it for a while. I'm just setting it up, and then I'm going to make sure the temperatures are okay, and I'm going to have a live plant in there, so I want it to kind of grow in first before I add anything in it anyways. Also, this setup is not going to be a species specific setup, so there's a few different species that I could put in here, and I'm still deciding what exactly I'm going to put in here. But I want to get this setup going and then see what I decide on after doing some research. But most likely it will be for some sort of baby lizard. So the first thing that I will be putting into this tank is the substrate. And I'm going to do a time lapse putting the substrate in, and then I'm going to come back after I'm done putting the substrate in. Now I'm back. I added in all of the substrate, and I started with a base of eco earth, and then I added some reptile soil in, which has some other stuff in it. Like, I know there's carbon in it, and there's some sand and topsoil and sphagnum moss, I think, are the four things that are in that soil. And the charcoal helps keep the substrate from getting stagnant, I believe. So I mix some of that in, and then I also mix some sand in too to help bind it all together and to help hold burrows. Also, I might end up adding a cleanup crew in this tank, so that will be good for them if I do add them in. The next thing I'm going to add in is the water bowl, because I'm going to need to move some of the substrate around. So here I'm going to make a space for this water dish. I need to put some soil back there, push it back there so that I have room to plant the live plant. Next, I'm going to add in a hide. So this is the hide I will be using. It's a half log. I'm just going to put that in there and get some of the substrate out there. So now I got the hide and the water dish in. Now I'm going to add this climbing stick thing. So I'm trying to figure out how to actually put this climbing stick in, because I had it in before I started the video to make sure it fit, and now it's not fitting. So I'm going to probably move some of the substrate, and then I'm going to put the climbing stick in, and then I will come back and show you where I put it. So I got the climbing stick in. I had to move the substrate around and reposition the log to make it fit, but I think it is in place and I think the lid should fit on top just fine. Next would be planting the live plant, but first I would like to talk about the lighting. So for lighting, I have two different lights. The first light that I have is a 75 watt Blue Day heat bulb. And the heat bulb is in a lamp with a dimmer, so I can adjust the temperature if I need to. Then for UVB, I have a compact fluorescent Reptile 10.0 13 watt UVB bulb, and the UVB bulb is actually in a interesting lamp. And the UVB bulb is in a lamp that I found at a thrift store. It's a old-fashioned desk lamp, and it takes like little bulbs that are shaped like a torpedo. So I figured, oh, it would work good for UVB bulbs or little aquarium bulbs, and since it has the arm on the back so it can bend up and down and side to side, so I decided to go ahead and get the two that I found at thrift store. Well, I found them at two different thrift stores, but I went ahead and got them, and I tried out a UVB bulb in them, and it works. They don't hold a lot of wattage, but this is only a 13 watt UVB bulb, so it works perfect for that. So I have both heat and UVB on this tank, and I have the UVB light positioned over where I'm going to have a live plant, so it will help it grow in. And also the animal that I will add in here most likely won't require UVB, but will also benefit from it. So the light will help grow the plant and also provide some UVB when the animal is under the light. Now I'm going to plant the live plant in the tank, and I will probably do a time lapse and then come back after it's planted. So I got the plant in. Now I'm going to put the moss around the water bowl. And again, I will be doing a time lapse, putting the moss around the water dish. So I will come back when that's done. Now I'm back. I put all the moss in around the water dish, and I think it's about done. Also, the last thing that I would do is add water to the water dish, but since there's no animal in it yet, I'm going to just leave it empty, but I will continue spraying in here to keep the moss moist and also water the plant, and also monitor all of the temperatures in here and make sure that it doesn't get too hot or anything in here, and let the plant grow in, and then eventually I will add the animal in here. But there is one thing that I have to do, and that is put the lid on. Well, actually I don't need to put the lid on since there's no animal in here, but I want to be able to set the heat lamp on the screen top and have the UVB on the screen top too, so I'm going to go ahead and add it. Now the tank is done, and I think that's about it for this video. Now I hope you liked watching me set up this enclosure for a future reptile. Now if you have any suggestions for any upcoming videos, if you could leave those down in the comments down below. And if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, if you could also leave those down in the comments down below as well. And don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Until next time, take care.